Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. I hope you enjoy, so let's get started.
So last night, in my infinite wisdom, I thought I could remove these wires and wire it up and give it a go. But that was a terrible idea because this one is seized shut. I can't get it out and I'm not going to ruin this screw. It's the only thing we got here. So this other one comes out fine, but I decided to put some penetrating oil on it here and let it sit overnight. But one thing you can see is in trying to get it off yesterday, we ended up breaking this portion of the terminal block. That is super annoying. But we can get it, glued back on there. It's not the total end of the world. And if anything, it opens up the terminal here so we can grab it if we need to hold it while we are trying to loosen the screw. Now, as I said, I soaked this twice last night and it has sat overnight. So I'm going to try to give it some goes with the drill on a really light setting to give it some shakes and see if we can get this thing loosened up. We ended up working up the drill pretty high here, one step at a time, and we did get it loose, so I'm super happy about that, and we didn't ruin it any more than it already is. I mean, there was no way to really hold this. The whole thing wants to turn, so I think it was going to break this no matter what, but we can get that reattached, and I'm just happy that this actually came loose. I thought we'd give it a test right off the bat. All the wiring looks good inside. The only thing I wasn't able to get this terminal screw to go down far enough for the thin gauge wire here. Well, thin compared to this. So I just used a 14 gauge solid copper core wire, and that's holding in there. That's why we have a little bit of a pigtail going on here. The other one is totally fine, so at least it clamps down and it does move, so I'm still super happy with that. Now let's get our bulb in here and let's see if this thing works. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we get. Okay then. For some reason I'm thinking the photocell turned off, so I got a different one on here. Let's try it again. Yep, that was it. Nice and decently quiet. Beautiful mercury vapor. Totally nice clear arc tube. You can see the electrode down there at the bottom with the refresh rate and hertz of the light here not cooperating. Yeah, so this being a very big photocell must be very sensitive or easy or quick reaction. Interesting. Either way, it's not super loud. It's nice and quiet. I'm going to let it warm up, just make sure it doesn't do anything funny. And then, of course, once we've tested it here, it's time to clean it up. We're at 118.1 volts, 5 amps, 79, 80 watts. Of course, it's going up. The power factor of 0.14. Okay, then. As always, you gotta love mercury vapor. This thing has calmed down nicely. It wasn't loud to begin with, but it's a little bit quieter now. It still has a very nice buzz hum. No complaints there. It's part of the aesthetic. The bulb certainly has a lot of life in it still. It's incredibly bright. Let's see what we have on our meter here. So we're at 185 watts, 117.7 volts, 3.1 amps. There's the watts again. And a power factor of 0.5. Awesome. Now that we know that it functions, now we know what to expect when we start refurbishing this thing. Now, it's not going to be perfect. I like to just clean it up and leave the character it has. Some modifications that I'm going to do to this thing don't really pertain to the fixture, but this arm. This is one of those weird GE arms where they didn't put like a bolt extra holder here. And I have one like that, as I may have already mentioned, right here. But this is a light enough fixture, so you don't have to have, that extra holder there, which does help a lot with heavier fixtures like this. And I've always seen these arms out and about with lights on them, and they start falling off poles because there's not enough, they didn't design it enough to hold up the weight of the fixture. So I'm going to modify this by putting an eye bolt through it, similar to what I've done with these arms, where I put this longer eye bolt through it here, and it kind of converts the arm into one of these more traditional ones, which is super helpful for hanging them up like this, nice and simply. The ballast is out of the housing here. The bolts that hold the slip fitter on, well, the arm I should say, are quite hard to turn, and I don't want to turn them much more than I had to get them out. They feel very seized, and I don't want them to break off, so I'm going to have to put some penetrating oil or something in there to help loosen those up before I can get them out to clean that appropriately. But for the moment, we got our ballast out here. You can see it's pretty clean inside. It's not too bad. There definitely was some type of information here, I'm sure, back in the day. It's literally all gone. Of course, we have the ballast here, and it does look like there's still some writing here on the side. So if we take off this bracket, which as you can see sandwiches the ballast between the base, which is the top anyway, between the socket and the base here, that's just a really neat design. So I'm going to see if I can loosen that up a little bit, if we can get it out and see exactly what it says. So here's our ballast out of its holder, and as you can see, we do have a little bit of information here. It's kind of hard to see, but it looks like that says 175W, 120 or 128V, 60 cycles. So we got 175 watt, 120 volt, 60 hertz ballast here. And the thing I wanted to compare it to is this McGraw-Edison ballast here, because they are the same, and I do believe Lime Materials was a division of it, or one way or the other around, so they were connected, and I believe essentially the same company. And you can see here, this one's in much better shape. This one came out of the McGraw-Edison Area Light, those weird looking ones. I like the look of those. This is that one that was really loud. It's funny that this one was so loud, and this one, being how old and rusty it is still so quiet. But it'd be interesting to hook this one up and just see if maybe it's quieter in this setting than in the other fixture. Maybe the winding inside or something started to arc. I'm not sure. But yeah, we'll continue cleaning things up here. Just wanted to show that comparison. I put our McGraw-Edison ballast in the clamp here, and it fits perfectly naturally. It literally looks like the same thing. So let's see if we still get the loud noise. It probably still will be. It's loud, but most certainly not as loud as it was in its original fixture. It's definitely got its buzz to it, but again, not as loud. Out of curiosity, I'm going to let this thing warm up, and we'll see if it calms down in its loudness. I mean, it very well could have just been, you know, the design of this fixture was not made for that. The ballast to, well, hum like this. It made it resonate. Anyway, let's let it warm up and see what we get. So it's definitely got a buzz when it's at full brightness, but it's most certainly nowhere near as annoying as when it was installed in its original fixture. It's of course louder than the original ballast to the Lime Materials here, but it's still, I feel, perfectly acceptable for an outdoor fixture. Gives it character naturally, but when you use it inside, of course the buzzing can get annoying after a while. So that's why I keep this thing. It's a good ballast. There's nothing wrong with it other than it produces noise. Thought I'd take the screws out of this adapter here and see what we find inside. There's our ballast. It's not even a 22 watt ballast. It's literally a 15 watt ballast. No wonder the bulbs on these things are so dim. They're being underdriven. Oh, that is funny. Yeah, it's a 15 watt ballast, probably something you'd find in a cheap desk lamp or something, and they just sourced it to make these adapters. You can see the starter crammed up there inside of the base. That's pretty common for things like this. That is so unique. Yep, literally. Oh, yeah, it comes right on out. There's our ballast. It's just a 15 watt choke. What a joke. Taking it further apart, I wanted to remove the photocell socket here. And I noticed they actually had a gasket underneath here. That's pretty cool. I don't really see them gasketed like this much. Usually you just kind of sit there and that's the best they can do. And here's little pieces and screws that hold it to the rim inside. Neat construction. You should always take some time to clean off your display shelves. They do get dirty over time, so it's nice to get all this stuff off of here and really cleaned up. All these little knickknacks, they accumulate all the dust in the world, really. Made a quick little display here for some mogul-based bulbs. Got to show off a BT25 clear mercury vapor. These things are so cool. Definitely worth a display place up high here. And I have another bulb that's going to go with it here shortly. But I'll probably put something in its spot right now. But I have that unique A high pressure sodium bulb that goes on mercury vapor ballasts that has a starter inside of it. I think that would be pretty cool next to this one on the display. All cleaned and dusted. Much better. Of course, same thing goes with everything up here. We got some new light bulb boxes and whatnot going on. So I'm happy with that as well. This is a very interesting bonus fixture, well, fan, with all the other Encon stuff. And it's like one of those little tiny motor gear-driven fans. This is a really weird thing. There's no indication of who made it or anything on it at all. And I just put it up literally a little bit ago to see if it would do anything. And all we get is a light and some hum from the motor, but there's nothing. So I'm guessing the little motor inside is just seized up and needs to be cleaned. So I'm gonna take it down now and see if we can do that. But I think I've seen a picture of one of these online once, but this thing is odd. I mean, look at this. The whole housing spins with the blades, and the whole thing's 1,000,000% plastic, except for the like lamp holder fitting here. So here's the insides of this weird thing. You can see there's just a gear that's attached to the main housing. It's got a whole bunch of like old lithium grease or something on it. Then you have the light kit here, just a regular 4-inch fitter. It's got some rust on it, with our pull chain that's cut off all funny. And of course, the motor inside. So you can see this thing's really tiny. It's not much of anything, but we have some type of gearbox here that then brings it down to this gear. And when I tested it out a second ago, it didn't really make this turn at all. The little fan here on the top turns. As you can see, there's a little tiny 4-blade fan within a fan. So you gotta take this gearbox off and see what in the world's going on in there. So after much more disassembly and pulling this thing off of this inside shaft here, we eventually got the motor off of its plate. And here's what's inside. Some little tiny gears with half of their teeth missing, as you can see. Yeah, I don't think that's being found, or even possibility of 3D printed with things that small. So I'm not sure what we're gonna do here, but that's what it looks like. I honestly have no idea what I'm supposed to do about this thing. I've thought about a million different things. You could 3D print it, you could try to make it by hand, you could send it off to some company probably, and they would replicate it and send it back. Boy, I don't know what to do with this thing, but it's just so odd and weird. I don't feel like just throwing it. The blades, the light, this housing, it's just so weird. And I wonder if I can make something up somehow with this bracket and just gear it different with another fan or motor or something. It's just too odd to get rid of, but at this point in time, I'm not sure what in the world I'm gonna do about it. So there probably won't be much progress on this for quite some time. So after thinking about this fan overnight, I'm going to attempt to try to 3D print that gear. I don't know how that attempt is gonna go, but we're going to do it. So I'm going to take this apart one more time and get that gear out of there, then put it back together like so I can analyze the gear, try to figure out how many teeth it originally had, and then once I hopefully get that 3D printed, we'll be able to put it in here and see this thing go. It's just way too bizarre to get rid of, really. Inside this black garbage bag is one of the items my parents have brought out here from Wisconsin, and this is something that I actually received from my grandmother after her passing. You might be able to tell what it is by the chain coming out of it. It is some type of light. It's an interesting light, so let's go ahead and open it up and hopefully get it installed here at the same time so you can see really what it is. But maybe you can tell by the shape of it what it is. It's a pretty unique hanging light. Okay, so I had to make it more video friendly for YouTube, but this is one of those vintage rain lamps that use mineral oil to drip down the fish line strings here, and it just recycles it once it gets to the bottom. So it pipes it up one of these 3 little pipes here and brings it back to the top, and it just keeps recirculating, making a rain effect. It's really cool. I helped my grandmother fix this up one of the summers that I was spending with her. She used to have this installed in her living room upstairs, and it always functioned. I believe it just needed oil or something because it sat so long without being used. But the green swag lamp that I have in the basement originally hung in this spot from what I was told. So I have both the different lights that hung in the living room back in the day. That's really cool. So this thing needs a little bit of a cleaning and some restoration to make sure it's all good to go. And I have a home for it in the basement here that I think all the guys and guests will get a kick out of. With all these wonderful Encon blades, we can do some pretty cool combinations. The first thing I'd like to do is change up this fan. Obviously, it came with the white metal blades, and I love metal blades. I think they are super cool, but I really want something that stands out a bit more from the ceiling than just some white blades. Just like the Hunter Original does here. You know, it's different contrast there. There's not much there. You just have the brass. So, with our new teak wood blades, I think it's time to put some teak wood blades on this Encon. I think that'd be pretty cool. So, I have a couple different options. I have 46-inch, nope, my bad, 56-inch teak wood. I have 42-inch teak wood, and I have 46-inch teak wood with cane inlay. I think I'm gonna do the cane ones. I think those would be pretty cool down here, the cane inlay teak wood blades. I think it would stand out from the ceiling nice and kind of go with the older vibe aesthetic that's kind of already down here. So let's see what blades I get on this thing. Some neon here at the Museum of Glass in Tacoma. Very cool. Gotta love neon.
That's one of the team sport.
What in the world is that thing? We're back, and here's what's inside the bottom of that rain lamp. As you can see, it's a little fan motor, essentially, and a little tiny pump that just keeps it pumping up one of these tubes here, and then we got the power coming down the other tube. It's never submerged enough to get the whole pump submerged. It's just the little, well, pump part. So I'm just going to clean this out, and then I got to find some mineral oil, but I wanted to show what's in the bottom of this. Moving to the top here, we open it up and we find our bulb. Well, we could have got to that from the inside here anyway, but the bulb is there. Going to replace it with like a R14 or something that'll look a bit more appropriate. And we have this little tiny kind of circular electrical box here just to keep the wires away from the bulb. And of course that wires to the motor down below and the light socket. And the wire just comes in through the top naturally. So that's how you take it apart. Now, as you may see, I cut the cord off of this thing. And if you take a close enough look at the cord, you will notice that it has turned green. So it's had a chemical reaction with the copper wire and this plastic insulating material that makes the wire itself, this rubber material, whatever it is, and it has turned green like this. So I'm going to replace it, which is probably a fine idea. I don't really care much about the switch anymore. It's going to be on a remote switch anyway, and it's been spliced at some point. I don't think I did that back in the day. I'm wondering if my grandparents wanted a shorter cord and they just had someone do this. Either way, we can definitely keep the switch. I'm sure that will be okay. But we'll definitely get a new cord on this, and that'll be a nice touch. Got our new cord here. To be honest, one of the most inexpensive and simple ways to rewire something like this is to get one of these longer extension cords and just get rid of the end here. These are so much cheaper than getting the wire and then a plug on the end. This is already molded on. You don't even have to put the plug on the end. It's a heavier gauge wire as well. Usually lamp cord wire is a thinner gauge than these extension cords. And I just find that these are just better overall price-wise and quality. So let's solve this problem by getting rid of our little 3-plug end here. And now we have a wonderful cord to rewire our lamp with. Of course, now I just have to feed it through the chain. All wired up, and with some more modern wire nuts too, instead of these old plastic things. It's time to enhance the end con here in the basement yet again with some wonderful teak wood blades with cane inlay. So here's the blade set. I have 2 of these sets, and I got some brand new bracket arms here. So we're going to go ahead and put these together and get them on the white fan. I think that'll look good in the basement with the aesthetic going on. Here's what the blades look like inside. So we got the cane on the one side, then you can kind of see where it was filled in on the other. And then of course our brackets. So yeah, just putting it together. It's crazy putting together all these new old stock items to make something new again. Yeah, that definitely stands out more now.
Oh, doesn't that look nice, Jimmy?
Here it is reassembled with just the photocell and the ballast compartment cleaned up. I need to still do the refractor, but I'm going to put it aside for right now so I can go through some other things that I have sitting out here and get all that sorted away and cleaned up. And then we'll get back to this, clean the refractor, and we'll get it up somewhere and enjoy it. It's a miniature finds of the day video. So I picked up this at the Goodwill today. It's one of these clip lights with a plastic reflector on it. I've always seen these at different, thrift stores and things actually being used to light things up, not for sale. It just has a little IKEA 25 watt equivalent bulb in it here. And that's pretty cool. That was $6. Just needs a little bit of cleanup. And it's in really good shape. It's not rusty or anything. Got this Lights of America, I believe it's a 26 watt or something. 27 watt, yes, 27 watt. Replaceable bulb, CFL here. You can unplug the bulb there in the top and replace it, electronically ballasted. That's pretty cool. That was $4. And these things. Now I know the Maritime Girl has found these at her store up there, and that's pretty cool to find this at a Goodwill here in America. I'm not sure if they were sold anywhere in the States here, but it was pretty cool to find these Noma Heritage Globe Lights, the same one that the Maritime Girl has found. So it's pretty cool to have those, and they do look really cool in person. I turned them on just to make sure they worked at the store, and I think they'll look great around the Christmas season, so that's a pretty cool find. And there's one more thing. This giant paten. This thing's really cool. I don't know why I keep finding these every once in a great while at the thrift store, but here's another one. This one was $13 and literally just put out today, so nobody scooped it up yet. I tested it. It just needs a bit of balancing. It has some string on it here. Boy, does it move air though, and it seems to have a pretty decent motor on it. We can plug it in here, and I'll turn it to low so it doesn't dance everywhere. But it definitely has a rattle to it. So I'll have to figure out why it wants to dance. But other than that, it certainly moves air. These things are built incredibly well. You get a little bit of everything in the shot there.
I really do hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. Leave a like down below and a comment. I do enjoy reading all of your comments. Of course, check out the other videos here on the screen. And until next time, thank you very much for watching.